All right.
Hey, good morning. Well, we can go ahead and get started for our final round. If you can review for us again at just a high level your education background and your work experience just one more time.
Okay. Well, my education background is high school diploma. And what was the other question?
And your work experience.
Work experience.
Yes.
I come from primarily a desktop environment. Really more so from the Windows 7 migrations in the city, the Department of Urban Development, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I also worked at Travelers Insurance and Medica as well. Eventually I went to work for Tata. That's TCS. If you guys ever heard of Tata, if you buy a burger in India or if you get a car, 9 times out of 10 they have something to do with it. So I was an end user support specialist for a lot of their Convault projects for both Boston Scientific and then Cargill specifically. Eventually I went into business for MSP called Syntax, a managed service company in Minneapolis. They do the upper Midwest and also Wisconsin for the state and a lot of small and medium sized companies doing Citrix administration. I worked there a few years, and around that same time, I was a Microsoft technical trainer. So I got 200 to 300 people certified in the Minneapolis public area. I worked with the Dyna Microsoft Center for the, bringing people into the data center so people could see what it looks like to work with the cloud. So about 7 years, I was a technical trainer. And I also work with Tech Systems, Robert Half, and a number of other technical firms. So I was able to, bring people in. We had like a final presentation for the class where we did an Azure Fundamentals presentation, and we got some jerk chicken and some good food, and we had everybody just wear their Sunday's best. And some people were hired right on the spot. Yeah. Eventually, I worked at a charter school called Hiawatha Academies, and they heard about my community work. And it was pretty much Salesforce administration and working with Tableau administration, as well as supporting their form assembly and their Salesforce instances. And it was about maybe 5 or 6 different schools. So I kind of worked as a liaison in between IT and the business. And I think with that position, it was almost more like community work and stuff until we were laid off. And when the pandemic came in early 2020, they told us that everyone would be laid off in June. So I took a contract at a company. If you guys anybody in here had an MRI before? Okay, so you know how loud those are. It feels like you're getting stomped out by a dinosaur in Jurassic Park. So I worked at a software as a service company as a contractor, Flywheel. That's how I learned about Docker and Kubernetes. And if you ever had, you had them MRIs, you ever heard the term of DICOM or PACS? Those are basically the images in which doctors can look. So what they would do is they would run artificial intelligence on those DICOM images. And from there, if there was an issue, what we do is, we push out the updates for the software and things of that nature. We would do JIRA stories, the entire life cycle management piece of the software we will work with alongside engineers. And the recent position at Veritas doing data backup support. I'm pretty sure you guys heard of all the largest companies that need data backup. I would get on a Zoom call, talk with different customers on whatever issues they may have. They might have an issue with their firewall. They might have an issue with their network. They could have a Docker or Kubernetes issue. They might even have an issue with data domain, because some people might have SANS and the Dell Compellent series in which there could be data backup issues. Right now I'm working on my Cisco CCNA, so I take that typically in the morning, and that's pretty much me.
Okay, thank you. Linda, do you have any questions before
No,
I forward?
no.
Perfect. No. Thank you. Derek, can you describe first the tasks and responsibilities for the tech support position here at Nuvera as you understand it to be?
To my understanding is you're dealing with all of your customer base. Someone might have an issue in terms of router support, basic internet service provision support. I might even get it. You could end up with a call where it could be a billing question. To my understanding is we're gonna be pretty much the frontline support, level 1 to possibly level 2 in terms of connectivity. I've also been told that you might deal with I believe not antivirus monitoring, I believe it was.
Good. Do you have any questions about the position?
Yeah, like I think we talked about with the call center. How many calls do you typically get per day?
It can vary. Sometimes we can get up to, say, 400 if we've had,
400.
I mean, not typically, but maybe the average technician, there are some that may take up to 25 calls a day, and there's some that maybe will take 14.
Okay.
So it depends, because a lot of things we are able to correct without having to dispatch a technician,
Okay.
and then that can take longer because
Okay.
you're not just, because of the troubleshooting involved. Some things are easier to solve, and some, like I said, some things if there's an issue with their circuit and we need to work with NOC, those calls can take a little bit longer.
Okay. And the knock center would be the next escalation.
Yes.
Now, what would their scope?
So they deal with provisioning, they deal with the monitoring. We are working to automate most of our provisioning, and most of it is automated, but if there's a problem with that, they're the ones that deal with that. And they're also kind of the first level support for if you're a field service technician and you're out in the field and you're trying to, let's say, install Alicia's you're there to install her internet and her cable TV. You're having problems, you call into the NOC, and then they're the support for that FST to get her service up and working.
Okay, so the NOC is also remote. They don't ever go on site.
No, they do not go on site. They are not working remote. They are in office, but they do take calls from those that are in the field.
Okay.
And they do some monitoring too.
So they'll call in a NOC with the issue, and let's say it's just like a major router issue where the router goes down. The NOC would.
So then if you're talking about like our connection to like the 511 building, then they would engage the next level, which could either be our transport engineering technicians or TET, or it could be our IT, our network services. So then if it's a broader issue, if there's a fiber cut between, we have a lot of redundancy, but then they would engage the next level of support. So, or not of support, but the next level.
Okay. Would we get any questions about like fiber issues?
Not sometimes, but I mean you would, because we have software that allows you to NOC 360 that allows you to go in and look and see. So you would be looking at some of the levels. You would not be. Nobody's going to ask you to splice fiber in a ditch or anything.
Okay.
I mean, you might be asked about like the levels a customer has. So
Okay.
But we don't always have to know that. But there are tools there if you want to know more about that. If that makes sense, or if you see something.
Do you use SolarWinds?
Do what?
SolarWinds? As an incident like monitoring tool or something?
I do not know, because that's my husband actually works in the network services as a network architect, and it's possible.
Okay.
But I'm not as I'm not as savvy about that. But
Okay.
All right. I have a question for you. So you may have already answered this, but what specific qualifications do you have that would make you successful in this role? And with that, is there anything that you need improvement?
I think I could do a little better at Excel, but I think I have a pretty good, well-rounded, idea terminology, being able to explain things from, the technical standpoint. I know that some people, they may have older systems and whatnot, or they may not be able to maneuver and navigate those things. So, with me being a former tech trainer, I believe that customer service and empathy is probably one of my strongest points.
Okay.
The next question has a series of 4. We'll just go one at a time. What are your expectations of the position when you think about it?
I think it's one of those situations where, want to become an asset to the company. I want to learn more about how you guys do business and how you do support the customers. So my expectation would be able to, onboard and pretty much be in a learning experience.
Okay.
Good. What is your expectations of the team?
I like fostering a team that, empowers a lot of growth. We could, roll up your sleeves and have an ego-free environment. I hope you guys are Game of Thrones fans. I don't know if you are, but hopefully you watched the episode last night. You know, I'm a big sci-fi person. I was heavily involved in a lot of science literature and stuff at a young age and stuff. So, you know, I like smart people.
That's good. And what are your expectations of Linda as the manager for the position?
My expectation would probably be to be able to be open-ended and be able to ask questions, and then me as an employee being open to constructive criticism.
Okay. Good. And what is your expectations of New Vera as a company?
I would like to see the company grow. You know, I was just looking at this pamphlet out there, and because I had questions about. I think when I was looking at the website, it doesn't give you a deep dive in how you guys had this implementation. When I looked at your case study and seen you guys had a $2 million investment in Mankato, I said, oh wow, they're going to be running around here like Total Recall in a minute. I thought it was interesting seeing exactly showing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps of how the fiber drops were done and all of that.
Yeah. Good. What is most appealing to you about this position and your career goals?
With me being in class for the Cisco, I kind of thought that might align. One of the things I wanted to eventually do is get into maybe project management and more business analysis as a possibility. And I seen you guys are a fast-growing company. With my current qualifications and my current experience in terms of like the certification training that I'm doing, I think that aligns pretty well.
Okay.
I mean, I know I'm not probably going to be working much so on layer 1, but you might get a person that calls in and they say, hey, my computer doesn't work, and their Ethernet cord might have been out,
Yeah. Good.
What technical skills do you believe a person needs to be successful in this position?
I think you should be able to have basic network terminology. You should be familiar with ports. I think you probably should know about POP3. You should know about SMTP. The port numbers have a basic functionality of firewalls and being able to talk to people. A lot of times, when I'm talking to people, I use a lot of analogies like, for example, freeways and. For example, I took 35 to get here, and then I took 13. Somebody might liken that to a VPN.
Okay. In what area of technical expertise do you consider yourself to be the most proficient?
I would say remote support and troubleshooting.
Okay.
That probably would be the number one.
Okay.
And then, what do you consider exceptional customer service?
When the person gets on the phone, you're able to answer all their questions. And I think the biggest part is for them to learn something when they get off the phone. That they're empowered with more information, when they do get off the phone. So, like if somebody says, well, what's a router? I should be able to explain that to them.
Right.
Without going into like heavy detail and talking about, the IMEI number at the bottom, unless of course we need that for like a power recycle or something. Yeah.
And then tell us about an experience you've had with an angry customer.
I'm trying to think of. I had an angry customer one time where they couldn't cut on their laptop, and most people can, but in this case, the power button was in a real weird place and stuff, and they're like, well, why would you guys give us a laptop that doesn't cut on or whatnot? And I had to kind of sell it to him a little bit because, he was so upset about not being able to cut it on, and then what he really got angry about is once he found out where it is, he felt dumb. He said, oh, I'm so stupid. I said, well, no, I said, guess what? You got a solid state drive. He said, oh, that's the upgrade. So sometimes you're able to kind of, negotiate.
All right, I'm going to give you a few different scenarios and then just ask you how you would handle them. Number 1, a customer calls in and reports slow internet speeds. Customer has a router, laptop, and a tablet. What do you do?
Slow internet speeds. If there isn't any weather issues or any known, outages that we have, I might want to check in some of the firewall settings. The first question I want to know is what application are they using. If it's an issue with an email, then I'm probably going to start thinking about that firewall, checking some proxy settings in the browser. If need be, we may have to do a power reboot. The first question I'm going to have is, are they able to use their mobile phone? How many devices are connected to that network? If it's just a browser issue, I might ask them to update it.
Okay. Second scenario, a customer calls in and reports they're unable to change the channels on their TV. What would you do?
Well, I think the first question would be how many TVs are having an issue. If it's just one, at home we use Xfinity. So it's like a little power pod or something that's connected. A lot of times, my wife will say, well, hey, this thing isn't working, it's the internet. And I'm like, well, no, it's not the internet. It could just be, an update that they may have ran and it didn't propagate afterwards. So I would ask to just unplug that pod and just plug it back. Most of the time it tends to work. Now, if the entire house is having that same issue, I could probably go on the website, Comcast that is, and see if there is an outage. And usually I'll just go to the router and unplug and power cycle that.
Okay.
What are some symptoms of a computer that is infected with viruses and spyware?
If you have typically, now they've got really sophisticated. We used to have this one antivirus called Antivirus 2019, or it was like 2017 or 2012 or whatnot. That could be one. If you got something popping up telling you to vote and all that doesn't have anything to do with your computer. If it tends to be running slow, that could be one of the reasons. If you start having pop-ups talking about random emails that you see, that could possibly be a virus as well.
If we were to ask your current or previous coworkers why we should hire you for this position, what do you think they would say?
I would say that they would say that I'm a good communicator, an honest man, somebody that can go above and beyond, and good at training people.
Okay.
Those are the questions that we have for you this morning, Derek. Do you have any other questions or comments for us? before we
Yeah.
talk about next steps?
Yeah, I do. I guess it's kind of off subject, but do they got good food around here? It's like a little small town.
Yeah.
The first thing I see is an auto repair shop.
Oh yeah. From what I know is if you're a bakery that is well known.
Oh, yes, the bakery down
Edelweiss.
across-
Edelweiss.
yeah.
Yeah, Edelweiss.
Oh.
That's a really good bakery.
With no barbecue.
I don't know about
There's a Z's Diner if you stay on 13 and go that way
Yeah.
that I've taken people to. That's kind of like has a 1950s vibe and it has hamburgers and
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say for a guy doing fiber optic all day, he gotta have some barbecue at some point in time.
Yeah, I don't know
Right.
if there's
Charlie's
China.
on Pryor is
Okay.
really good. So that's right on the lake, and that's it's not really barbecue, but they have really good food. And then the view is beautiful because it's one wall is all windows and it's the lake.
Okay.
So that's a cool place too.
And there's a brewery, Bullhouse
Oh,
Brewery.
yeah, Boathouse Brewery. Yeah.
And they have pizzas over there.
Yeah. But I don't know about barbecue. I don't know.
No. Famous Dave's.
The-
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna tug it.
Man, don't do that. Famous Dave. No.
I mean, that's not
Oh
good.
Lord, no.
No,
I mean, if
no.
you have to, if you have to, I mean,
it
like,
used to be good.
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did used to be good, and then it just, I don't know what they did. They just, I think sometimes in franchises, they just, I mean, Pizza Hut used to be good. That was in '92. But no, seriously, like, I guess, where do you guys see the company going within the next 5 to 15 years, especially with a lot of expansions and things of that nature?
Yeah, as far as my perspective, I would say, just continuing to grow. I don't know if our locations will necessarily grow. That it just kind of depends upon, what kind of comes available for us. But definitely our services, we can continue to grow. We're in year 3 out of 5 for our fiber project, and so continuing with that. Hopefully we don't have to go into year 6 or 7, but as we all know, with major projects like that, things get backed up, and weather is a huge factor for us in that project. But otherwise, I can see just expanding in maybe some of our services areas like we have done this year with Arlington and Dazzle.
Yeah, and I think
Cokato, yeah. So it just kind of depends upon where we feel.
Jordan, I think we have
it's
some.
newer. Depends upon, where it makes sense for us as far as, a competitive level. But then continuing to grow our products and services. Our IT field service team is a little bit newer. We've been growing that area. I can see that. That's
So
appropriate.
the IT field services is kind of what you have been doing, but so they, instead of a field service technician that goes out and deals with like residential or business customers, we have a managed services products, or we
Okay.
have managed services products that we sell, and they typically work with businesses. So we have business and then we have a small residential. We have 2 that do residential. We have a Tech Trends technology store in New Ulm, but then I think we have 5 or 6 IT field service technicians. They do have the on-call for the internet because basically we have hours currently Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then Saturday 9 to 4, and then we will be expanding eventually. But so they take the internet calls in the evening, so they do have that. But we have managed services customers, I don't know, all over in our areas: Prior Lake, New Ulm, Hutchinson, Litchfield. I'm trying to think.
How
So
far is
Metro.
Mankato from here?
So so we don't service Mankato.
Oh, okay.
But New Ulm is about 30 minutes
Yeah.
from Mankato. From Prior Lake, it's about an hour and a half. So we're kind of
Oh.
Oh, and we also have Goodhue too,
yeah, Goodhue
which is
over by the
between,
Rochester.
kind of between.
Good you.
Goodhue is
Red Wing.
between Rochester and Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's sort of about, if you know where Red Wing,
Okay.
so it's not too far from there.
Okay. Now I'm thinking about all these unknown places that I haven't. I seen them on the
You
map.
kind of need to, yeah.
Yeah, I seen them on the
Google's your
map.
friend, so,
Yeah, and see, the thing is with Minnesota, a lot of people don't know Minnesota. It's really, really big, but it's really not that
No.
people. So you could actually catch yourself in a hills have eyes looking kind of place from time to time. If you
Yeah.
ever been to Missouri and stuff, it's like it's just a lot of land. Have you ever drove down through Missouri?
Yeah, I was just in Kansas City.
They got some
like a
real
month ago.
beautiful
Yeah.
freeways and stuff.
Yeah.
Now KC has some good
Yeah,
barbecue.
yes, they do.
They
I was
got
like,
good
we should go to
barbecue.
Kansas City for barbecue.
Yes. Okay. And with the voice over IP in software, I will be supporting that, right?
Yes.
And then now, would I be doing any of the managed service IT, but that's more so?
A little bit. I mean, not as much, but it's possible that they would call in and we would probably need to refer to them.
Okay.
So.
Can you speak to? We talked about it a little bit about Sundays. Is it more for
So-
monitoring and stuff?
So on Sundays, currently we are closed on Sundays,
Okay.
but we have an answering service. So we are getting, let's say we get 40 calls where they're like, we want to just wait and have you call us on Monday. And so our goal right now is to have the Sunday person basically take all of those calls, enter them in the system, call them. We're not going to have published hours right away, but just help us get caught up. So there will be a time that on Sundays you'd probably be working by yourself from 12 to 9.
Okay.
But then the other days, Monday through, this position is Monday through Thursday, or it's Sunday through Thursday.
Right.
So then there are 2 technicians that work Monday through Friday, 12 to 9. So
Okay.
you would be on the same shift as them,
Okay.
and then you work with them. But currently, we're not going to advertise those hours. Our goal is to eventually hire another person to work Sunday through Thursday, and then we would open it up and then add that to our support hours.
Okay. And I think we talked a little bit about the training a little bit. There was, if I recall, it wasn't like a specific standard. It's kind of a
No, it's typically
shadowing.
what we do is we have you work with, you basically shadow someone for 4 to 6 weeks and just work with them. They work with you. Usually on the first day, I bring them down and have them meet you, and then it's pretty much just through Teams and screen sharing, video if you want to. Otherwise, they just typically use video or use audio.
Okay. And that's second shift as well, the training.
So when you were first training, it would probably be 8 to 5 until you would move into the evening shift.
Okay, that's fine. I'm trying to think of any other questions that I had. I saw those routers out there. One of the routers, I think it was, I can't remember the brand.
TP-Link is
TP-Link.
yeah.
I've seen those. It's been a while since I've seen them.
We used to carry D-Link, and the TP-Link is, I don't know, ended up being just better.
Was there any reason to pick that as opposed to Cisco?
Well, cost for,
Yeah.
for residential.
Okay.
But yeah, we use a lot of Cisco products. We have people that go to Cisco Live, so.
And can people buy their own router,
Yes.
and then they can just use it?
Yeah, they can either, we have home Wi-Fi that we have, which is through Calix equipment, if they want to do that, or if they want to bring their own router, they certainly can. We like them to have the home Wi-Fi because it's easier for us to look in and see what's, we can look at their network easier than if they have a TP-Link. But yeah, they can certainly bring their own router if they want to.
Okay. I can't really think of too many other questions. I don't think I have any. I'm thinking about how am I going to get you guys some good barbecue because it's not working out here.
I'm like, there's...
The ladies at the front desk, ask them because they're from the Prior Lake area. They probably know where.
Oh, okay. I guess I assumed you guys from around here, and so I guess
I am actually from South Dakota originally, but I came from Hutchinson, and I don't think we have any good barbecue places really.
Now South Dakota, that's Rushmore's in South Dakota, right?
Yes, that's Rapid City sort of area. I was from the eastern South Dakota, so around Sioux Falls.
Is it true that South Dakota is very flat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
because the East River along kind of the I-29 corridor is a lot of farming, and it's pretty green and lush. And then between that and Rapid City, the hills are it's like 5 hours between. And yes, it's very flat, and it's great for sunsets.
Okay. Is it like driving through Iowa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's great sunsets. You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can see a lot. So.
It's good.
Wow.
Okay. Well, good. This is a good conversation. As far as Linda, do you have any other questions?
No, I do not. I think he's answered everything.
Brooke, do you have any questions or comments?
Do not.
Okay. Derek, as far as the next steps is I will be connecting with your references to just ask a few questions. If you want to just let them know my new number will be reaching out between today and tomorrow to your 3 references that you have listed on the application. And then we will be finishing up with our final round of interviews early this week. And then by the end of this week, I'll connect with you with an update. Either we need more time in the process if we'd like to offer the position to you, or if we're going to move forward with another candidate.
Okay.
If I'm having any issues connecting with your references, I'll let you know and we can work through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Well, thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. It was a beautiful drive out here,
Yes.
minus the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But looking forward to continue the conversation.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming in today.
Thank you. Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully get some good barbecue today.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm gonna have to do something.
Yeah, I have to do something.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
Yep,
You
thank
too.
you.
Take care.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead?
Yep, straight ahead.
Okay,
Yep,
thank
yep,
you.
yep, that worked out great.
Thank you for having me, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
have a good day.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. I had to throw the barbecue on there real thick. Turn on my airplane mode. Yeah, I don't know about this. See, it ain't supposed to be that hard. And I'm doing this for y'all. I'm just being honest with y'all, man. I'm doing this for y'all. I probably should ask you to use the restroom. They didn't offer me no coffee. You know how I am about that. Courtesy, common courtesy. They didn't offer me no coffee. Nobody shook hands. Rural Minnesota, Prior Lake. I am thirsty. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna mess with them like that. Then they say Monday through Friday is the training schedule. I don't really think I'm gonna mess with them. Maybe, I don't know, man. I do not know this. I'm not liking this. No, because they could have asked me that over the phone. The same questions. They didn't ask me any different questions. What they want to do is they want to see you. So, yeah, I don't know about these folks. I'll post this in a minute, y'all. Thanks.